Hi, I'm Guthrie. Today, we're going to gab about how you can get your class listed without going crazy. Hello, I'm Guthrie. Today, we're going to gab about how to list your first class or your second on Outschool. So, Outschool has its own platform that you will write your class listing on. Some of it's very easy. You simply click, or there's a drop down menu, and it leads you through it. In other places, they're very specific about what you write and how you write it. So, I'm going to do a walkthrough with you. So, if you're able to, you can keep this video open and also open up the application for a class listing on Outschool, and I'll walk you through the process. Come along. Okay, step 2, summarize your title. Now, it'll say one sentence, but if you read further, it also says a phrase. So if I was going to do a class listing on how to write a title, I might say, this class is going to provide students with hands-on learning on writing a title in real time. I might also put something else that they will use their favorite book titles to help them learn how to write a title. So you can write 1 or 2 sentences. You can put more of a phrase or even a quote, something that's going to help sort of get parents to notice you, because remember, that's what you're doing. You're wanting parents to keep reading. So they're going to first see the title, then they're going to see the summary. That's going to get them interested. Then the next step is where you get a little bit deeper into your class. So the title and the summary, again, are advertisements for your class. They're that first teaser or trailer that you're going to see, the preview. Step 3. Okay, step 3 is probably the easiest out of everything that you need to do, but it is important because this is one way that parents can search for your class. So think about what demographic of people are going to be looking for your graph. What would they be thinking of when they're searching for your class? Okay, so there's a drop-down menu. It's very easy. You're going to have things like art, coding, tech, English. You're going to go ahead and put your title into one of those categories. So as you're creating your title and your summary, think back to what subject you're going to be listing your class under. How to write a title. Is that going to be for coding? Is that going to be for an English class? Is that going to have to do with maybe theater and creative productions? So make sure all of these things are tying together. Okay, we're almost there, halfway. Setting up the course type is so easy because there's 4 choices. And if you are a new teacher, you only have 3. 3 choices. Okay. First one time. This is once and done. You teach this class one time to one group of students. Now, don't worry. You can repeat this class several times. If it's introduction to playing the guitar, you can teach introduction to playing the guitar 40 cajillion times if you choose to. But each student will probably only take that class one time. That's okay. There's lots of students out there. Lots of students wanting to learn lots of new things. So don't worry about that. One of my first classes I put up as a one-time, within a week had 53 saves. I can't teach 53 students at one time, so don't worry about having a one-time class. That time can be from 30 minutes to 90 minutes. So there's a big option there on how long your class could be. You're just going to simply click one time. It's a blue button. The next option that you have is a multi-day. This could be that you teach a class twice. Maybe it's introduction to guitar, but you want to teach some chords. You give the kids a few days to practice, and then you come back for the second lesson, and on the second lesson you're going to play a simple song. That could be a 2-day, it could be a 3-day, a 4-day, multi-day class. It's up to you. You can teach that one class per week. You can teach a multi-day 2 days in 1 week, 2 days each week for 2 weeks. There's a multiple range of ways that you can do multi-day, but once you click that button, you're going to find that when you go down to the course format, it's going to get a lot easier because Outschool is going to have a drop-down menu ready to help you know how to schedule those classes. So don't worry about how to schedule your multi-day until you get down to that portion, and it's very simple drop-down menu. Third option is ongoing. Ongoing classes might be that you are teaching guitar. Maybe each week or each class is a different chord. And it's okay if you didn't learn the other chords beforehand. Today's one chord and you're going to practice that chord. Maybe it's a story time. Maybe it's learning how to sketch. And each class is you're going to sketch something different. So it's okay if you didn't come to the ones before, and it's okay if you don't go to the classes afterwards. Lots of times, these are where kids are going to drop in and drop out. Maybe this week they have time to come to your class. Next week they're going on vacation. It's okay, they're not going to miss out by missing one class. Those are ongoing. And again, when you get to setting up when those classes are going to air and setting your class sections, Outschool makes it very easy with a drop-down menu. The fourth option is for teachers who have taught before and have a following on Outschool. That is an ongoing flexible time class. This might be a class, again, going back to the guitar. I guess I need to take some guitar lessons. Going back to the guitar, that if you are teaching guitar and you can teach chords on an online class that you're going to pre-record, similar to watching a YouTube video, similar to taking a college online class. Now, the students can communicate with you between classes, and it's very recommended that they would do so with a flexible class so that you can interact with them. So let's say you're teaching guitar. You're going to teach a chord. Students will practice. They may send you a sample through email, and the email always goes through Outschool. It's not going to come directly to you. So Outschool is that middleman, and that helps to keep your privacy and security as well as the students. And then you can communicate back and forth with the students in between these flexible classes. So it's not that you just post the videos and you leave them up there. It's expected that you would communicate back and forth with the students, and they would communicate with you. So those are your four options. You simply push a blue tab. So easy. Okay, another important step is loading up an image that represents your class. This can be an image that you have, that you've created. You might have created in Canva. You might have created in PicMonkey. It might be an image that you've taken yourself. It can also be one that you search for on the web, and when you go in to load the image up, Outschool will link you directly to a web search for pictures. Just be careful that there's no branding in there that could be a problem with copyright law, because Outschool will send back your listing if it violates copyright law. The other option, and this is very good for people that are doing something with the arts, is that you can upload a video, 30 to 90-second video, highlighting you as a teacher. So again, back to that guitar teacher, I might actually play a little bit of the song that I'm going to have students learn. If I was showing fitness, I might actually do a routine with the students that I would be doing in class. Something that's going to help alert the parents to the type of teacher that you are and what they're going to expect in class. Again, this is there to help you, so use it to your advantage. Course format, very important, because this is, again, is another way that parents are going to find you, because you are going to set up the age group. Outschool recommends no greater than 5 years a span in age. Now, it's very typical for you to set down, say you want 10 to 15-year-olds in your class. Not untypical to have a parent who has an 8-year-old who's very bright and interested in your course, and they will sign them up. So just because you put an age limit, you can still have students attend and pay for that class. You do have the option to respond to the parent, because you will get a notice when somebody pays for your class, that you can talk with the parent and say, the reason this is for 10-year-olds is because maybe subject matter, or this is what I'm going to be doing. If your child can keep up with me, that's great. This requires a lot of fine motor skills. I sometimes find 8-year-olds don't have it. And explain again your refund. that you're going to offer for that. So it's up to you if you want to accept students that are outside of your age span. Typically what I've found, depending on the classes, it's sometimes better to go a little bit narrower than an outer link. If you find that you could adapt your class to different age groups, you might want to do something like 8 to 10-year-olds as one course and another course then for children 11 to 13. That would still be a separate class. So when you change your age group, you can set up a second class. You could have basically the same format, the same class description. Your title might be a little bit different, but say you have course 1 and course 2, and you can change it based on age. I've done that with several classes and it works very well. The next thing is class size. How small, how big? If you put down that you are going to have class size of 3 to 5 students and 2 students register, Outschool will cancel your class unless you decide to go ahead and teach those 2 children. Personally, as a new teacher, I'm okay with 1 new student coming on board. They get one-to-one tutoring. I hope I get a good response from the parent. Maybe that's not worth your time and effort to develop the class. That's okay. That's your prerogative. We are independent contractors. So Outschool goes ahead and gives you age recommendations with group settings. So if you have 3 to 6-year-olds, you don't want more than 6 in the class. If you have up to 12, you could have 9 or more in your class. 12-year-old students and up, you could have 9 or more. So group size is going to depend on the age. It's also going to depend on what you're teaching, what you're charging for that class. Because of course, if there's less students, I can charge a higher price. I have more students, I might go ahead and charge a smaller price, but get a bigger audience. So you have to decide as a teacher what's going to work for you. Okay. The next thing is course duration. How often will you be offering this class? If it's a 1-day class, you're just simply going to put down how long the class is for. If you chose multi-day, you're going to choose how many times per week and how many weeks that class is offered. The same thing with an ongoing. How long is the class going to be for time-wise, and how many weeks are you going to put it out there for? How many days a week are you going to offer it? So Outschool makes this very easy because it's a drop-down menu. And they fix the drop-down menu according to the course format that you chose. Next, course description, and that is very, very important. Class description, so important. So you've caught the parents' attention. They like the image. They might have liked the video that they saw. They like the number of students in the class. It's the right age range for their student. Now they need to know a little bit more. So this is as if you've picked up the book, you like the cover, you've read the front, you've looked at the back, seems interesting, I'm going to open up to a page. I want a little bit more of a description. What exactly are we going to learn? Okay. If this is watercolors for 3-year-olds, what are we doing? Are they going to hold a brush? Are they going to learn colors? Are they going to paint a Monet? What exactly do you expect to teach the children? How are you going to teach them? Is it going to be face-to-face like this in a video format? Are you going to use a face-to-face video but also have a presentation? Will you be having breakout rooms where children will be working with each other and practicing? Will they have wait time where they're going to, if it's a writing class, maybe they're going to have some writing class in time. Writing time in class. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so you're going to describe, if you were talking to a parent and telling them what exactly you're going to do with the class, this is where you're going to do it. This is your blurb. Okay. This is where parents are going to read to find out, are they really going to click that button to register for your class? So you're going to explain what you're going to do within that class. Are you going to have introductions? Are you going to have games that you're going to play? Will you be hands-on? Will students do hands-on on their own? What do you expect from the students? All of these things are very important because the clearer you are in the description, the more likely the parent will be satisfied with your class. So do yourself a favor, spend time to write the class description. Also, check for grammar. If you are not the best writer, you could be the best teacher and not the best writer. Have someone else proofread it for you. Have someone edit it. Because if there's grammar mistakes, Outschool is going to send it back to you to correct them. They will not post something that is incorrect grammar-wise. So pay attention, take your time. This is probably going to take the most time out of listing a class for everything else that you have to do. The next part that you have the option of doing is writing about learning goals. If you are a classroom teacher, you know about learning goals. We bet. The student will be able to. Now, back to the description and in the goals. If this is a multi-day class, I'm going to go ahead and say, Lesson 1, this is what the student will learn. Learning goals for Lesson 1. Lesson 2, this is what the student's going to learn. I'm going to talk about in the description. Then I'm also going to put something in the learning goals. Again, the more precise you are, the better satisfied the parents will be when they're registering for your class. This, again, takes time. It's okay if it takes you a little while and you have to go back and think it through, if you have to look for the right wording. It's okay because it's worth your time. You can't make many changes to this once you go ahead and post it. A few words here and there, but other than that, Outschool will not let you edit it once you post it. So again, this is where your time is going to be put in, and it's time that's going to be well spent. So Outschool has optional learning goals. Again, if you're a classroom teacher, you've been writing learning goals since you've been teaching. This is a piece of cake. What do you expect the student to be able to do at the end of your class? So if it's a one-time class, the goals are going to be very specific. They're probably going to be short. If I'm doing a guitar introduction class, student will know the parts of the guitar. Student will be able to name the different strings of the guitar. Student will be able to play 2 chords. What will the student be able to do at the end of your class? Or student will have listened to a story and be able to answer 3 reading comprehension questions based on that story. Very specific. That's what learning goals are. Again, if you're doing a multi-day course, you're going to have learning goals for each day that you teach. So class 1 learning goal, class 2 learning goals, class 3 learning goals. Be very specific. And remember, they're going to build on each other. So if you had for class 1 that you're going to name the parts of the guitar, maybe on class 3, they're going to be able to recall the parts of the guitar. On class 3, maybe they're going to be able to play 2 chords for you during that class. So remember, if it's a multi-day class, they're building. If it's ongoing, you're still going to have goals, but it may be that each class they're going to know who the main character is of a story. They're going to know the theme of the story. They're going to be able to use the same 2 chords to play a different song. However you want to change it, but the goals are very specific. This is where you're almost reading the chapter subheadings, and you're getting further and further in, and again, you're really liking what you're reading. You're really thinking of signing. Just one more thing. Homework, assessment. Is it necessary? Maybe not. If you're doing a one-time class, it's still nice to write something in homework or assessment. It could be that it was an informal assessment that the teacher did ongoing. Maybe you played a game at the end. That's still a type of assessment for the student to find out how they did. Maybe you're going to post a link to a game the student can do after class. That would also be a type of assessment. Homework, it's optional. It's always good, though, as a teacher to make a recommendation. If it's a one-time class, you might say that the student will benefit from practicing what they learned in class, or refer them to a website that they might like to go to. There's also a spot on your class listing that you can link outside websites. That way the student has access to them. You're also going to have a way to go ahead and load up a PDF or other document that you might want the student to have before class. This is very helpful. It's very helpful, especially if you have them using an outside website. So if you are going to be using an outside game website during class, it's very helpful to put that not only in a link as an attachment, you might put it as part of the assessment, and you can put it in the notes also on the class listing. The more places that you put your outside information, the better the students will be prepared at the start of class. One class I had gone ahead and listed the outside resource, but then I had students, 8-year-olds, on their own trying to log in, and it was a hot mess. So what I did with the next class is when I got my list of learners, you can send an email message to them, and I just said, please take the time to go ahead and be prepared to access this website. Here's how you do it. That helped. The next class went smooth. All the students were prepared and ready for it because it was a site that did not end in .com. And if you have young students, they're so used to just putting in .com, they're not going to listen to what you're saying. So again, homework and assessment, not required. It's just another way for you to give more information to the parents. Now there's more under here. You will see that it says next class optional. Why would you do that? How do you use that? It's a button that says next class. Once you start listing classes, you might have that introduction for guitar lessons, and then you might have the next lesson, right? So you might have lesson A, and then lesson B is a one-time lesson. Once you have those lessons listed, you can go through and it'll list every class that you have listed under next class. And you can click next class. So if the student liked your first class, you're already providing them the link to find you again for the next class. So again, another way that Outschool is helping you to keep students and have them coming back. Okay, the last thing that Outschool is going to require from you is a materials list. What do kids need to bring with them to your class to be successful? If it's a writing course, do they need to bring paper, or could they do the work on a tablet? If it's a guitar course, can they learn and listen without a guitar, or are they going to need a guitar in order to be successful in your class? What are the materials that they're going to need? Remember, these parents are choosing your class. So if I'm doing a drawing class, I might say, this is a watercolor class. The students are going to need to have a watercolor palette. I recommend, and you can put down a few recommendations. And again, think about budget to higher end. So some people might be going out and buying something at the Dollar Tree, and some other people might be buying something that they're really thinking about as a commitment. The same thing if you're teaching a guitar class. Are they going to need a high-end guitar for your class, or are they going to need just any guitar that they have at home? These are important things that parents need to know before they sign up for your class, because you want to get good reviews for your classes. And parents that have a good material list are more likely to feel comfortable about entering your class, and they're going to probably feel more successful at the end of your class. Now, on the materials list, there's also a place for resources. So you can list any outside resources that you're going to be using for the students, anything that you might recommend as a follow-up if you're playing games, if you're using Nearpod, if you're using Quizlet, if you're using Kahoot, anything that's outside of the basic Zoom video chat, you can put down in a list of resources. Outschool makes it very easy. There's a drop-down menu, copy and paste the URL into there, and you can put any number of resources for the students. Okay, so you're ready to send in your listing. You're going to go ahead and set your price. Outschool has some recommendations for that. Think about how long your class is. Think about how long the actual class duration is if it's a one-time class. Also balance that with how many students are going to be in your class. If you're doing a multi-day class, what you are charging is for the entire class. If your class runs for 3 weeks and it's 3 lessons, your charge is for all 3 of those lessons as a subscription. Also, you are charging per student. And remember, Outschool is going to take 30% of what you charge. So you keep 70, they get 30. So again, you're going to have to consider that when you're setting up your pricing. That's up to you. You are an independent contractor. Outschool simply makes recommendations. The minimum is $1. To be fair, you have to value yourself. Are you a licensed teacher? Are you highly qualified in your field? maybe you're a passionate crafter and you're just getting out there. And so that first introductory class, you might put that at very inexpensive. But then as you start to build more of a following, you're going to charge more for your classes. So that price can fluctuate as you change with Outschool and as you grow and have more of a following. You have to set the price for what you feel is comfortable. Now, one of the really nice things about putting this class listing together, is that if you look at the very bottom left corner, it says Save Draft, and it'll tell you when it was last saved. So Outschool, the format, the platform that you're writing in on, it actually saves in real time. So I always try to click Save Draft. This way, if you have to walk away, you're having a hard time with your description, you need to go take a picture or film a short video before you go ahead and put your class listing up, you can take that break, come back, reread it before you put it in for the request. Remember, it's very important to have proper grammar. You want the class description to be concise, but to really explain what you're going to do. You don't have to say at minute 5, we're going to be doing this at minute 10, but you want parents to have an expectation for what they should see when their student is in the class. Because remember, parents can sit to the side to view the class. They also get a class recording at the end. So if you want repeat customers, which we all do, you want to make sure your description matches what you're actually going to be teaching. I'm going to have another video on what to happen because sometimes there's glitches, and some days maybe you can't adhere to that strict description that you had. There's ways to do that and still have the parents coming back. So when you are confident that you are ready, you're going to push request listing, and then we wait. So you've sent in your class listing, you're waiting, you're checking your email, because that's how they're going to let you know that it's been listed. They're going to send you emails, and you're waiting and waiting. What do you do while you're waiting? There's several things you can do. If it's your first class, you have to have your first class listed before you can put in more. If it's your first class listed, you can start choosing when you're going to be teaching, when you're going to offer that class. You can start developing that class. You can start tweaking and going through the technology and making sure that's set up. You can do a practice Zoom class with how you want to present your class. There's lots of things that you can do in the downtime while you're waiting for your listing to be accepted. And you can be thinking of new ideas for new listings. So this does not have to be idle time. And usually it's been about 3 business days for them to get back to me on a listing. It's because there's a high demand right now, and because of this virus that we're all being quarantined and isolated under, their staffing is not quite the same. So be patient with Outschool, but you will get an email concerning your listing. I worked so hard. You worked so hard. And your class listing was rejected. Why? Why? Lucky for you, Outschool's going to tell you why. They're going to tell you your title is not written properly. Maybe it's not long enough. Maybe it's too long. Your class description needs more details. I've even had them said, we've listed your class, but it barely met the qualifications. So Outschool actually has real people reading your class listings. It's not a computer or machine. They're going to come back and they're going to respond to you. Some of you may be confused and say, well, they said this about my class description, but I thought it was written well. I don't know what to add. In that case, please email me. I would love to help you. That's what I like to do. I like to help people because doing the class listings is easy for me. Getting started was hard for me, and somebody helped me to get started. So I want to help you get your classes listed because you don't have to be a good writer to be a good teacher. Don't forget guthriegabbs@gmail.com. Please, please get back to me. So if you didn't get your class listed the first time, fix it, send it back in, and wait again. Congratulations, congratulations. You got your class listed. You're a teacher. Okay, congratulations. I am so glad that you have a class listed. Remember, once that first one's listed, you can start writing up more and adding more to your portfolio of classes that you can offer to students. Don't forget, once you have that class listed, you're then able to go into the room. I'm going to post a video about that also. How you can go in and practice on Outschool Zoom platform, how you can invite friends and family to help you get ready for that first class that you're about to teach. If you're like me, you're so excited, you don't know whether you want to puke, you want to run, or you want to cry, or you want to scream. But I hope that, like me, that you will find that Outschool is a great way to share your passion for what you have learned with others. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please reach me at guthergabs@gmail.com. Make it a great day.